everybody. This is Liz from Augusta, and I have two special people that I'm so excited for you to meet today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, their names, and where they're from.
Okay. Yeah, my name is German Gomez. I am from Mexico. And here's my wife, Evelyn. She's from LA. And well, I consider myself being from Washington now because I've been in Washington for more than 20 years. So I consider myself a Washingtonian now. Yeah.
And how did it work out that you ended up coming here?
I was 15 when I moved up here. My family, my two older brothers lived up here, and I just moved with them. And I went to high school for a few years, and then I dropped out of high school and just never went back to Mexico. And I've stayed from that, transition from, international student. Mm-hmm.
How did your parents acclimate to the U.S.?
They can come here.
I see.
Yeah, it's really hard for them to come. They got to get a visa. It's really difficult for them. So I go visit them every now and then when I have a chance. Mm-hmm.
That's great. So how did the two of you meet?
Well, I let Evelyn explain that because her sister was the one in charge of that.
She was Cupid.
She was the matchmaker.
Yeah. So I'm from California. I moved up to Washington 3 years ago. We got married 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we had only met each other 8 times or seen each other 8 times.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, from like long distance. And then he proposed, we got married, and right after getting married, like I moved up here. It was like a big change for me. It was really hard. Leaving like family, friends, and everything, but it was all worth it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You guys are still newlyweds, I suppose.
Yeah, 3 years.
Was it a total shock for you to end up coming and the two of you coming together after you had known each other for such a short period of time?
Yes, it was really tough. Like the first 2 years, I'm not even going to lie, because I hadn't lived with anybody before. So it was like getting to know him, getting to live with somebody, sharing everything like financially. And then he started the business. I think it was like 2 years after we got married.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like a big thing for me because I was like, okay, we're not like stability. I was like scared of it. Like,
yes.
What are you going to do? What if it doesn't work out? So I was just like, okay, but at the end, like I trusted him and I was like, okay, like it's going to be good. If anything, like I have a good job. I'm a truck driver.
Okay.
I was like, if anything, like I can take care of us. So yeah.
Are you a long distance truck driver?
No. I have to be home every day.
I wouldn't be married to her if she was long distance. No way. I can't do that. No.
Yeah, that's too hard to be apart for weeks at a time.
Yes.
So you get married and now he's starting a business. Was this Augusta or did you start a lawn care business on your own?
Yeah, I started on my own in 2020. I might just want to add a little bit to this before. So I was doing logistics for 12 years. I was, my job was stable. I was making good money before I left, because obviously I grew up within the business.
Yes.
12 years that I was there. So before I left, I was making close to like $75,000 to $80,000 a year. So obviously quitting a job wasn't easy, right? It was a big move. So that's when she came in and I was talking to her today, I want to do this, but I want your help. She wasn't on board at first, she was really skeptical about it, but I'm like, I'm tired of this job. I just want to do something different. I don't enjoy going in every day and not being able to make more money, right? I'm money driven. So I was working there for such a long time. And then I just decided to just open up a business. So I went into like watching for videos, talking to people that had a business, how that goes and everything. And I stumbled upon Mike's videos on YouTube. You haven't asked this, but that's how I found out about Augusta. And I just booked a call with Lee, and it's all history from there. I didn't join right away though. I think I talked to him one time, and it was like a job interview. He said, "Hey, what do you do?" and all these things, and I just said, "Oh, this is what I do, logistics, and I'm a manager." And he's like, "Okay, you would be a good fit for Augusta." So from there, I think I talked to Evelyn. She wasn't on board with it. Like she's like, "Nah, I think you can do it by yourself. You're smart." But I'm like, you know what? When it comes to landscaping, I don't know anything about landscaping. It's easy, but it wasn't. I mean, the business part of it, the business side of it, I didn't think it was that easy. So I'm like, I need to join someone. I need someone to help me. So I was relying on people that had businesses like my brothers, but it wasn't enough. Like their systems wasn't good. So
Yeah.
I, 6 months later, that's when I was like, I started working. I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm gonna open up my business. I don't care if I fail, whatever. I just want to do it. And I just filed for an LLC and, we looked for a name for our company. And we went to, in January, we went to a conference with our company, Mountain Peak. That's what it was called. And I took Evelyn with me. She's like, yeah, this is great. So I think that was when she realized that we needed to do something, beyond just us. But yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Did you keep your other job while you started your lawn care business?
Only for 3 months.
What month of the year?
That was in November of 2020. Yeah. November 2020, I had opened up the business, but I had someone run it for me. Well, not run it for me. I had one employee that was doing the work. And then that was for it was 4 months. 4 months that he was doing the work. And then I just said, you know what, this is because what I was trying to get from my employer was I wanted to become a salary. I didn't want to come in and clock out because I had the warehouse handled. I had everything handled. I didn't have to be there all day long, but they wouldn't allow me to do that. So I wanted to just clock in and make sure that everything went smooth, and then come back home, do my estimates and stuff. They wouldn't allow me to do that. So I'm like, you know what, I just completely quit the job and went all in by myself.
So 75,000 is a pretty good wage. Was there nowhere else that you could move up in the company to make a little more?
I could have, and I was going to college to get a degree in logistics. I finished my associates and then a year. So it's 4-year degree, like bachelor's degree. Yeah. So I almost finished, but because I knew that if I finish and if I show them my bachelor's degree, they would then move me up in the corporate, right? I could have become, I don't know, probably like a man. I was a supervisor. I could have become a manager, but it was going to take me 1.5 years to do that extra because I was full-time worker and then full-time student. So it was really difficult for me.
You were money motivated though, you said. So when you think of starting a business from scratch, you had to buy all your equipment. Were you thinking of a lawn care business? Was that the plan? Like, did you know it's a lawn care business I'm going to go into, or did you just start researching businesses that it was an easy entry into?
Yeah, it was. I knew it was going to be lawn care.
Mm-hmm.
Reason why? Because I did lawn care when I moved up here when I was 15 for, on the weekends with my brothers and with friends that I knew. And also I knew it was easy. I mean, it's just, mowing, bush trimming, flower bed maintenance. It's not difficult to do it. But I knew that business-wise, it was difficult.
Yes. Was that from watching your brother to starting his own business?
Yes. Yeah. So they had a small business and they grew it to like $1 million within 5 years, right? So they're doing great. And I'm like, I can get into this easily and I can just, I know a lot of people. I can have employees within the next day if I call someone that I know. So that was. I knew then that I wanted to do lawn care because it was gonna be easier for me to. I mean, training is not difficult to train people to do lawn care, and just finding people that want to do it. At least in my case, I'm not gonna speak for everybody else, right?
Yeah. So when you started your business, you seemed like you had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. So you didn't have unrealistic expectations that you're not going to start with 75,000 coming in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I knew it was. So before I quit my job, I was working an insanely amount of hours at the company I was working for. I was like, okay, I'm working because I was a supervisor. I told them, hey, we need to do these extra hours. So I did it on purpose so I can get more money. Right.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what? I need to stash as much money as possible to get my business running.
So you could buy your equipment and everything.
Yes. And I think we invested like about 25,000 when we started.
Okay.
Trucks and equipment, and then from there it was. I think that was as much as I spent. I didn't have a lot of money to to begin.
So how long did you listen to Mike before you had your call with Lee?
I think it's been a few months. It hasn't been long. It's just I just listening to older people. I mean, there's a huge array of business you can open. But but definitely, I think that Mike sold the idea of P4P. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, because this is what I'm struggling with. Like, they don't see the value that I bring to the company, or at least I think I was bringing to the company.
Yes.
And I'm not getting any cut of it. Like, I'm not getting no profit share, and I'm not getting any P4P or anything. Like, I'm just making $27 an hour, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make $30, $40. And I knew that if I wanted to work with somebody, even with Augusta, like the way that he talked about, I'm like, I'm efficient. I'm an efficient worker. I can easily make $30 an hour working for someone in Augusta. And knowing that you guys had the 3F program, I was considering all these things when I was thinking about the business. And so I just said, you know what, I by listening to him, it was easy. It was easy for me to make that decision.
Evelyn, did you ever hear any of Mike in the background, or did he talk about it?
No, I didn't. He would put in his earphones and just listen. He would tell me about him, but like he said in the beginning, like, I wasn't buying into it because, like, I was like, it's a franchise. I haven't heard good things about franchises.
Yes.
And it wasn't until
Sorry.
Wrong way.
Yeah, we're like the opposite way. It wasn't until we went to the summit in January that I listened to Mike and everybody speak, and I was like, whoa, like, this is totally different. And I loved it. I loved the people. I loved everything they said, and they sold me on it. I was like, okay, like, I think it would be a good idea for him to join.
So you're in Washington State, and was the summit in Washington State that year?
That year it was. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
It was during winter, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually January. Yeah. So were you able to talk to other franchisees and ask them questions?
Did we?
Not when we went to the conference. That was more when we went to training.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
She only went Saturday, and now it's like 3-day conference. So I only took her on Saturday, so she didn't really get to see more people.
So when you went there, did you have an intention of doing anything with the franchise, or were you just coming to learn about P4P and just to help your own business that you had started?
Yeah, I think I wanted to learn more about Augusta than anything else. I wanted to see how to, I literally, like, just by watching the interaction with just Augusta, I was like, I want to be part of this. Like, I don't want to be by myself. I like talking to people when I have a chance. And that was like, dude, I want to sit over there with them. I want to be here by myself with some random people that come from Kentucky or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So Lee does not just pick anyone. And he's been on the phone, had calls with people before, and they're smoking pot and they're talking about their A team and their B team and saying all this stuff about their employees. And Lee's like, A team and B team, like, this is a team, right? And so they're an automatic no. But what do you think it was about you that was attractive to him, that he felt like you would be a good fit with us?
I don't know. I think it could have been that, because I was, oh my goodness, this camera is not helping. I'm sorry, Liz.
You guys will have to pretend you love each other and squint in.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, just get closer. Because exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was more so that I had experience with managing people.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, I don't see that a problem in the company so far. I mean, I only have 3 employees, and I haven't had an issue with any of them. I think that's what I think, that he saw that in me. Like, okay, he's loyal. He's been 12 years with this company, so he can go get fit for that. Also, I don't know if I shared with him this or not, but I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't, I love family.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could have been what made, was easy for him to make that decision to let me join. I think.
Yes, I don't know. You probably said positive things about your family. You had a record of staying at the same job for a long period of time. So you weren't wish-washy. You were a committed kind of person. and also probably the realistic view of what you had that it takes to run a business. You weren't looking to have some easy way out by joining the franchise. You just wanted to get ahead and be a part of a community.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it was. And I think also I wasn't talking negative about the company. I said I have nothing against the company that I'm working with. It's just that their vision is different than I don't think now we don't align with each other now because I want to do more things in life.
Yeah, so it sounded like once you got a little more educated and got that little entrepreneurial itch, it's hard to be an employee after you start feeling those things and learning.
Yeah, he was working at the company, and we had just got married, and he was still working, and he would come home like very frustrated, very mad. He was always in a mood, and it would like take a toll on me because I was like, I would have to go sit outside because I didn't want to deal with his like he was just not happy at his company anymore. And that's also like when I think he took the next step and was like, I just can't be there no more. Like I need to do something for myself.
Yeah. And how did you react to it then? Were you thinking, finally he's going to do something or take some action that will make him happy? Or were you immediately scared? Like, oh my word, he's already a little bit off his rocker being angry all the time. And now he's going to do something really extreme.
I was a little scared, but I was like, there's nothing that doesn't have a solution. Like I just stayed positive and I was like, if he's going to be happy, like doing this, then go for it. I just didn't want to see him in that mood anymore. And I was like, do it.
And you didn't have a track record of multiple years of watching him as a family man, as a husband, to know that, yeah, this guy's really steady. He's handled our affairs and everything very well for years. You didn't have that to really help you make a decision. So that takes a lot of character. How did you feel about the initial fee?
I think that's what got me the most. I was like, oh, like that's a lot of money or something. Yeah. He didn't tell me when he did it. He told me after he did it.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
And I was like, okay, well, you did it.
Did we have the solo model at that time?
Yes. Yeah, that was the starting point for me for two reasons. Because I didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to work out with Evelyn. Right?
Yeah.
Honestly, to be quite honest, I mean, dating for only a year and only seeing each other for 8 times, it wasn't easy. Like we were getting to know each other. Right.
No kidding.
So for me, it was like, okay, I can't spend a lot of money into this. I had the money to going into it, but I'm like, I need to have some reserve if anything happens. So that's the only reason why we chose the solo model. Obviously, right now we're growth. This December, well, actually, yeah, it's still in December. Yeah, we became a growth model this month.
That is so great. You're the first person that has really made that transition. So can you share with the listeners, if they don't have money to get in with the 20,000, what your thought process was, and when you got into it, was it, I'm going to do this all by myself, or did you have plans? I'm going to get to the growth model as soon as I can. What was your mentality about that, of buying into the solo model?
Yeah, basically, I wanted to prove that the systems work, right? So I'm like, okay, they talk about all these beautiful things, but I don't know if they're true or not. I want to make sure that it is true to to what they sell, just for lack of better words. But yeah, so I bought into it, and I'm like, okay, let me try it out and see how it works. I mean, within the 3rd month, I was making $30,000 a month already.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So yeah, so I knew that it was the right decision really quickly. Like, spending $8,000, I think it was $7,000.
Yeah,
the one I joined, I think it was.
And then $700 a month.
Yeah, I think it was $700 a month. Like I said, within 3 months, I was paying already $1,200 because I was making over $20,000 a month.
So when you came for training, did they give you step by step, just for the listener's sake, so that you went back completely overwhelmed, or did you have a pretty good game plan to get started?
I didn't have a plan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I was just learning everything. However, I kind of knew the pricing was gonna be the pivotal point. Like, if I could price things correctly, I can grow fast. But I needed to make sure that I was doing it right. So the only thing that I had is like, okay, I need to call anyone that I know for pricing. That's the only thing. Everything else is figured out by you guys, command center. You guys handle all the calls and everything. So I didn't have to worry about that. It was just more so of selling the jobs and giving them the right pricing. That was my only plan. I think I said, obviously, if I can sell it correctly and if I can price it correctly, I think I'm going to be successful. Because there was a lot of leads coming in, obviously, in spring, that spring rush.
Yeah, so everybody would feel the way you're feeling right now. So how do you even figure that out? Do you reach out to franchisees that are the closest to your territory in the state of Washington to see what they were charging?
Yeah, so not at the beginning. Remember, my brothers have a landscaping company.
Yes.
I will rely on them very heavily. Like,
I see.
Especially one of them. It's every day. Hey, how much you charge for this? How much? I'll send them videos because I wasn't too close to the local franchises. I mean, I haven't met them yet. Right.
Okay.
Like I went for training and we came back and I was on my own, basically. I think Thomas and a few guys from Washington reached out to me and I was like, I don't know if I should, like, I don't know. It was something like I was scared to talk to them.
Yeah.
They're the cool kids. You go to conferences, they see you right with Mike and Lee and everything. I'm like, I don't want to be there. It was easy for me to approach them. But yeah, yes. Thomas, he texted me, said, hey, how you doing? Do you need any help? And I said, yeah, not yet. Until one day I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm struggling, man. I need help. And he was on it. He's like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, we all go through it. I mean, it was the best support that I can ever get, especially coming from an Augusta franchise owner.
For them to organically reach out to you.
Absolutely. And since day one, I mean, we have a Washington chat from, I think it's
a WhatsApp chat. Yeah.
Group. And they added me right away. So I can see their conversations and I can pitch in if I needed to pitch in or ask any questions and they'll jump in whenever they have time. And yeah, it's very helpful.
That's the wonderful thing about Augusta is that that Lee is so picky, so to speak, to let you in that it's just automatic. Oh, we can welcome him in because we know the quality person he is because we were chosen for the same qualities for some reason, right?
Right.
So there's it's the same when we work with franchisees at Command Center. We've never met most of you personally. But the idea is that you were vetted by them. So I trust you 100%. So I always trust somebody until there's a reason not to. And so when we're on the phone and a customer calls and they're being, so mean about you and saying you did that and you said that, right away, we're like, that doesn't sound like him. Let me check into this and we'll get back to you. He's a very high quality person. There must be some misunderstanding. So it's the same way. We don't know. We may never meet you. But we are going to make sure that we're still backing you up 100% because you're part of our family, pretty much.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yep.
So when you came back from your training, is that when you told Evelyn how much you had spent?
No, I went to training with him, right?
Yeah. Is awesome.
Yeah, I went to training.
And funny story, we lived in a van. We had a van.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like, we're not spending much money. We want to have as much money for marketing. So
yes.
We want to spend $1,000 in hotel fees or whatever. I said, we had a van, a nice, really truck. And then we just drove it. I said, hey, we're going to live in this. And
we're like, this is an adventure. And he's like, Mike says to be frugal. I'm like, okay, we're really being frugal here.
It was cold too. It was October. It wasn't that cold, but it was a little bit chilly.
Yeah. So did you stay in the parking lot of our studio?
No, we drove around. There's really nice places in Bellingham. And,
there's always Walmart.
Yeah. I think we drove to the beach a couple of times. Came down to Bellingham downtown to have dinner, stayed at the beach or whatever. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun, definitely.
So for the two of you to come together, if you were to talk to somebody else, do you think that was a game changer for you, Evelyn? To be there and to hear the same things he did?
Yeah, because I had a realistic, what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what to expect. I knew it was going to be hard in the beginning. And just to get all the information that he's getting, that way we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what he's going to go through. That way I know, what to expect, basically. Because if I didn't go, I probably wouldn't be understanding with him.
Yeah,
Like,
you'd probably be a little resentful in the beginning because it is so hard to get started. And then when he's in the middle of spring season and losing people and hiring people, they can hit a pretty big low. It's nice that you knew that could happen.
yeah. And he would come home and he would tell me all these things, and I just listened to him, and I'm just very understanding. I guess I'm just there to support him. Like, listen to him and tell him everything's going to be fine. Like, you're going to be okay. You got this.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal and quite a testament to you two that you, like you said, you are not even sure if the relationship's going to work out, even though you made this lifelong commitment. And this is a huge test very early in your marriage to actually start a business, which money, businesses, those types of things are the number one reason people do get divorced.
Yeah. Yeah, I went all in. I said, I'm not going in shy. I want to do everything I can. I mean, if she's going to be the one, she's going to be the one. I need to put it through the test. And she's passed it. Huge.
No kidding.
That's
yeah. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you were saying that the community has been beneficial to you. So how does that work being in the same state as other franchisees? Do you meet up together? You get together? Do you communicate on a daily, weekly basis, or how does that work?
Yeah. So we have meetings at least once a year. Actually twice a year. In the middle of the summer, we get together again to recap what happened in the spring. And then we're going to have another one here in the next few days, actually. I think January 13, we're going to meet again one of the franchisees shop. And yeah, we just talk about the business. What is the plan for the year? How things are going. We share our P&Ls to see how we can help each other. But yeah, that's how we stay together. And yeah, so we chat on WhatsApp. We communicate through that app. And then also I am very close to the closest ones to me, which is Thomas, Tyler, and Marcus. Those are really close. I'm like an hour away south from them, but I'm still close to them. Like, I'm not close to Nick, I'm not close to Alex or Tim, but everybody else, they're close to me. So I talk to them all the time. Yeah, especially Thomas and Tyler.
Daily.
Almost
awesome.
Daily with them. Yeah.
So what's your radius? So the listener knows, is it 5 miles, 10 miles?
Yeah. I have a 5 mile. Actually, I have a 10-mile radius because there's not a franchise near me, so I can take over much. But for mowing, for recurring maintenance, it's only 5 miles. I don't go above, beyond that point. But for projects, I go further. Yeah, I have customers all over the place. Not all over the place, but I have customers that I brought in from the previous company that I kept because they're monthly and they pay me really good. And I haven't let them go yet. Once I get to that point where there's a lot of franchisees nearby, I'll just give it to them or something. But till now, I haven't done that yet.
So brand awareness, it's helped you to be only an hour away from another franchisee.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. People saying, I see your trucks all the time. And I go down to Marysville and I go towards Seattle, and it's crazy. I see Augusta trucks, and you would think that each person is a big company. How many trucks do you have?
I have 3 trucks, but 2 painted. One I just purchased in August, but I haven't painted. I haven't been using it much. It's just like a backup truck. So I have 2 trucks. Yeah, that's all I have, and I'm gonna add a 3rd one here pretty soon. It's in the shop. I'm getting it fixed. That is painted in decal.
What revenue did you get to before you are required to switch to a growth model?
So the revenue, so once you hit $20,000 a month, I think that's when you're, so that's so after you make those 20,000, then you're told to, that now you're making 20,000, you need to become a growth model. I don't know the specifics of it, to be quite honest with you. All I remember from conferences, like if you hit 20,000, you have a year to become growth.
Yes.
And then 20,000, yeah.
And then when you become growth, you pay the full 20,000.
Yeah. So once you become, so like for me, let me just give an example. So I hit $20,000 in April, and they told me, okay, next April you have to be growth model. So that's going to be $20,000. So I could become a growth model anytime in between that year, or I can wait until April to become a growth model. I chose to be earlier because I wanted you guys to deal with, to set up whatever you guys need to set up for the spring. I didn't want to join in the middle of the spring and not have, chaos in the business. So yeah, so that was $20,000, and then the monthly drops to $600 for a whole year, which is awesome.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So if I was paying, so I was solo, but then I was paying $1,200 because I was hitting $20,000 a month.
I see.
So once I became growth model, then they dropped to 600 for the rest of the year until next December.
Yeah, so that could be pretty confusing to those that are listening.
Sure.
So they can get in at 7,000, then they pay $700 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an advantage to buy into growth. So once you buy into growth for the 20,000, Augusta gives you what, a year that you get to pay 700, and that's
600 actually.
600. Okay. So typically the reason Augusta would do that for a growth model is so they can actually get going, buy their trucks, buy their equipment, get some marketing in there. And so you're saying that then you paid 600 a month after you paid the 20,000 for 1 year, and then did it go up to 1,200 at that point?
Yeah, it went to 1,200. Like I said, the third month when I hit the 20,000, it just automatically, because I knew those details from the contract, so I knew I was gonna pay if I hit 20, 1,200, and I kept paying $1,200 because I think the revenue, I mean, it was like 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and 50,000 every month until now, because it's winter, so it dropped dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
But
as a solo, right?
As a solo model, yeah.
So in 6 months, you went from a solo model to a growth model.
Yes. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So is it to your advantage that you planned from the very beginning to go to a growth model, and that was your mentality when you were in the solo model?
Yeah, I don't want to hold back. I mean, I talked to Lee one time. I said, "Hey, Lee," because I knew I was gonna make a lot of money, right? Like the second month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I just become a growth? I mean, it was a couple of months when I joined. Can I just buy into the bigger franchise? And he's like, unfortunately, it costs a lot of money for us to get you, in the door. So you would have to pay the 20,000. But he said something like, you can stay within under $20,000 a month, and it would be fine. And I'm like, I'm not holding back. I'm just going all in. I don't want to keep under 20,000. I just want to go all in. And yeah, it was really quickly. Within the third month of in spring, I hit the $20,000 mark and above.
Can you imagine telling your team, we can't take this job, we can't take that job, we can't make too much money?
No way. And I told Evelyn that, and she's like, just go all in. Don't hold back. I mean, you have so many trucks out there. I mean, because I brought 2 trucks coming in with Augusta. I had a truck, so it was. I didn't have to spend a lot of money when I became Augusta. I already had everything paid off.
Mm-hmm.
So
you sound pretty, Evelyn. You sound pretty supportive. So how are you going to justify this $20,000?
What do you mean? I don't get it.
So when you were solo model, you knew that he was going to want to be growth. Mm-hmm. So did you guys try to budget from your income, because you knew you were going to have this $20,000 bill?
Yeah. No, I think he got it all. He saved from the business. Like, would it be profit?
Yeah. So basically what happened is last year by myself with the company, I think I made 100,000, close 100,000. Okay. This year we're at 300 and something. Phenomenal. So there was a lot of profit in the business.
Because there's no overhead.
So
really.
Like I said, I haven't hardly ever spent money. Like I don't have any debt. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. I'm lean, everything comes in, it's straight profit and payroll. That's it. So there was like $60,000-$70,000 in the business. So I purchased a truck, brand new truck.
Okay.
2019 diesel truck, because I do, a lot of hardscape jobs. Mm-hmm. And then and I had $20,000 for the growth model. I already had it. I just spent it. Said, yeah, here, have the money, and then just become a growth model. So we didn't pay out of our pocket. It was business.
Yeah. I love it. That is great planning. So what kind of services did you offer right from the get?
So obviously, simple services is the main, but I don't say no to hardscape jobs such as retaining walls. I've done pavers. I've done fencing. Some of this work I sub it out to people
Oh,
that have their companies, everything the way that they should have it, and I use them. I know the pricing, so I tell them, hey, this is 100 foot. 100 linear feet of fencing. So how much do you charge? And I know their linear price per feet, so I know how much to pay them, and I know how I can price it to the customer. And especially if the customer wants different things,
yeah.
I'll just give them everything as a package, and I have a few things sub out, and I do the rest. And that's kind
So
of how.
what if you had a big property and they had 3 retaining walls, they had a paver patio, they had sod, they had mulch? We had one like this. That's why I can use it as an example. Do you have a cap on, say, we're only going to do jobs that are 10,000 or less, or would you take $100,000 job if it was 3 walls that you thought you could do?
Yeah, no, I think I will. Anything below $40,000 sounds
Okay.
more doable for me, especially with the people that I have. They know how to do hardscape, but they're not very efficient at it. So that's why I have to sub it out. And I don't like go because I know that the bigger the amount, the less chances of making money.
Definitely.
I mean, I talked to Ryan Payne. I've talked to a lot of people in Augusta, and outside of Augusta, says don't be shiny with the money. Like he can say 150,000. You're not making 50,000 out of it. You're probably making 10,000 if everything goes well.
Right.
So don't get into those if you're not professional at it. And I know how to do those things, but I'm not a very specifically for that. I don't think I'm built for that yet.
So go ahead.
Yeah. However, like I said, I have people that can do it for me. I just don't want the headache of dealing with it. I can give it to them, but I just don't want to. I'd rather just say, hey, you take care of this customer. You give them the price, and I don't have nothing to do with this.
Yeah. So do you have a company like those subs? Would you say, do you guys want this project? And maybe they just do hardscaping and they throw some mows your way, or what's that relationship like?
Yes, so that's kind of the relationship. However, the most, I mean, I'm within 5 miles. Remember that if they have they're like construction based, they go all over the place. So they might have a customer here in Issaquah. I don't go to Issaquah, so it doesn't work for me. It works for them, but it works for both actually, because the value that I get from them, how to price things correctly. Like if it's a smaller job and I know how much to price it for, I mean, literally I got that information for free. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of what I get from them. It's just the knowledge of how to price things, how to do things. Because I ask them, how do I talk to the customer about this? Yeah, this is the process, and they explain the process, and I get that in my head, and I talk to the customer. Yeah, this is how you do it. This is how we would do it.
So as a solo model, how many trucks did you have? How many employees did you have?
I had one for half of the year, and then no, I'm gonna take that back. I'm sorry. I had 2 trucks with the solo. And then just recently purchased the 3rd truck that I barely use. I only have 2 trucks. That's it. And 2 employees. I have a 3rd one now, but I added the employee. So it was me and 1 employee at the beginning of the year until June when I hired the 3rd one. And then so going into this winter, I laid them off because I didn't have enough recurring.
Yep.
But then because I'm still doing marketing, I'm getting cleanups. So I hire another one. So these 2 went to work for some other company, just for the winter, but they're coming back in spring.
I love it. So you had these 2 trucks and you and another guy. So did you guys run solo routes and then you would route in your estimates?
Yeah. So I would do the estimates. I would send them. Yeah, I would send them by himself, do the mowing. But if we had a cleanup, we went together. So and I don't have a lot of mowing clients. I think I picked a 90 this year. It wasn't a lot, and then a lot of them were like bigger properties. So we worked 3 days out of the week just mowing, and then we have Monday and Tuesday for projects, and then all the 3 days for mowing, and the following week is the same thing. So it was, and then Saturdays we use Saturdays to get jobs done, projects. So, yeah.
Some owners, they want to do P for P, but they don't have much practice. And so it's really hard once they get employees. Did you do P for P for yourself and that employee so you can have an idea of how it worked?
Yeah. So when I work with somebody, I'll just, like, for instance, the guy that I have, he knows more than I know about landscaping. So what he's doing, so I gave him the bigger cut. For instance, I pay myself salary. So I pay myself like $22 an hour. So he's making 25, 27. So just that ratio, right? Like it was 55% of the profit, labor revenue for him, and then the 45% for me. It wasn't hard to do it.
Yeah, and you're in Washington State, so what would be your base pay?
$20 right now. I was $18, but it was tough to get people in the door. So I bumped that up to 20, and everybody takes $20 an hour all day long.
And what's your minimum wage in Washington State?
I'm not sure. I think it's $15.
Okay, so they're making substantially more, but then when they do projects, they're probably expecting that they would naturally have more money than that.
Absolutely. My guys are making $27-$30 an hour when they do projects. When I send them to do maintenance, they're making base pay because it's two guys, it's inefficiencies. And they hardly ever make any P4P. But when they do projects, they hit $27-$30 an hour all day long. They're very
Is there an understanding that in the winter they're gonna go find something else? When you hire them, do you say that?
Yeah, yes. As soon as I interview them, I tell them this is a seasonal job. Obviously, I'm new. The company's fairly new, so I don't have any snow removal contracts. I don't have anything for winter. But in the future, like next year, I'm considering doing that because there's a lot of money to be made in it.
Yeah.
But I just have to prepare a whole year before doing it because I purchased the truck for that reason, but it was late in the season.
Yeah.
So it was I got a quote for the plow and it was like $15,000. The insurance, it was really it was very expensive. I'm like, I don't think I can do it. It's such a short amount of time for me to do it.
Exactly.
And I just said, okay, screw this year. Let's go next year. And I told them all this. I mean, we have meetings every Monday.
I love it.
It's funny because it was only the two of us.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, we're having a meeting. And I told them, this is how the week looks. We're gonna do this Monday, Tuesday. This is what we've done correctly. This is what we messed up on. So basically I went over all the jobs that we've done and how we did it and everything. And I told them, what was going on. Like, hey, next week, probably we're only working 4 days out of the week. And so they always knew what was coming.
That's
so
great.
I've been preparing them for the winter. I said, okay, maybe in the winter, I need to lay you off sooner or later. I don't know. It depends on how things look.
You explain to them about winter services and that might be something you offer in the future, which would give them a few more hours.
Yes. Yeah. I told them, so basically I send the one-click estimate to the customers, but I think that one of the issues with Copilot is that I wasn't getting the feedback. Like, I don't know who, like I see the email, the automation coming.
Yes.
I don't know who it was. And I'm like, oh, this. So what I did, I just created an email a template for myself. And I said, okay, if you do not like winter services, just reply back to this email. And I sent it to everybody.
That's great.
The majority of them replied back saying, I don't want winter services. And the ones that I kept, like I said, they're 12-month level billing. So all year round. So those I didn't have to email. So I just kept those. I just kept the ones that are like 20 customers that I have. And, I think in winter, I'm just going to basically break even. I'm not making any money. I'm paying myself, but everything. But I'm okay with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's better than losing $100,000 to start your spring. And then you don't even catch up till you get to June or July.
Absolutely.
So there are lots of business owners, especially this last week of the year, that are buying into Copilot because of the guaranteed pricing. Can you explain the feelings and the frustrations of switching to a new CRM, like the fear that you would have, especially a new CRM where there's going to be quite a few issues? Were you in Super or Service Autopilot?
I was in Super. I wasn't a fan of Super. It was really, there was a lot of issues with it. It's especially with the invoicing. It was a nightmare. Everything else was not so good. I don't think there wasn't a lot of pain for me to switch into Copilot. Why? Because I didn't have a lot of customers. Simple, right? I think the database is like 400 and something customers I have in there. I never did the newsletters, not because I didn't want it, but because it was. I'm learning, right? I'm planning on doing better next year, but so switching to Copilot, I wasn't scared or anything. I was like, I know it's gonna be bumps and bruises along the way, but no big deal to me. It's like whatever. I mean, when I had my onboarding call with Eli, I told him, I know this is not perfect. I'm okay with
Mhm.
it. I'm 100% okay with it. I know it's not gonna get better. I mean, it's just that. I mean, I feel it for the guys that have a lot of customers.
Yeah.
Those are gonna struggle more. For me, no big deal, honestly.
Anything is better than Zuper, though.
Absolutely. I mean, the invoicing it was so easy this time. I mean, I can. Well, that's not so easy, but because I haven't learned the how to
Yes.
use it. But once I learn how to use it 100%, I think it's a lot easier. I think the problem with Super is like the jobs were getting lost somewhere. Like every time I wanted to invoice somebody, I mean, where is the job I did? I don't see it in here. So I had
And
to
if
go
you
back
didn't
in and
remember, if you didn't remember, then you're kind of screwed because it might be 3 months later you realize that you never invoiced them.
and I think I didn't charge a lot of people. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I went back. I'm like, screw this. I'm not going back. I'm not calling them. Hey, 3 months later, we did the job and we didn't charge you for it. Just screw it.
Right. For a
Let them
$45
have it.
mo.
Absolutely, yeah. No big deal. Yeah.
So how has it been for you, Evelyn? You're working full time. You're driving truck. He's running this business. Has it been smooth or has it been pretty rocky?
It's been pretty smooth. I think, like I said, I'm just here for support. Whenever he has bad days, he comes and I hear him out. I like stability, so I like to know that my job is gonna be there.
Yeah.
And I get that paycheck, and if anything goes wrong with him, which like nothing will, that will still be okay. And in the future, we're planning. If we do, like, we're planning on starting a family, so that's when I will stop working my job and start helping him more with like payroll or all of that. That's in the future, and then I'll start learning more about the business.
That's the nice thing about the a la carte menu is the stuff you don't really understand. You can keep having command do it till you've got it. And then the stuff you are okay with, let's say you're okay with email management, but P for P you don't want to take on yet. That's really nice until you learn it.
Yeah. But everything's been pretty smooth. Thank God.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your goal to be able to move yourself out of the field? Do you need a certain revenue?
Yeah. I was out of the field for the last 3 months of the year.
Fantastic.
Except December. I was just, had two guys. I was just had them do everything for me. And I was just doing estimates and took a lot of naps. I mean, I shouldn't have done that. I feel bad about it, but we were making good money. I think I was pricing properly. And we were just efficient, and I didn't feel the need to be in the field.
Yeah.
However, I think next year, I think I'm gonna have you guys do most of the work that I was doing, like the admin. I'm gonna be in the field more, doing estimates, probably working with projects. All the maintenance, I'm gonna leave it to the guys that I already know. But yeah, so it's hopefully next year I want to have 5 employees. Actually 4, including 5 with me. But I want to be completely out of the field next year. So, but going into the spring, I need to be training people. I need to be doing all these things, and once I have it all down, then I'll just move, be out of the business.
How do you feel about having Max, our AI guy, answer the phone? Is that frustrating to you, or do you like the fact that there's a little bit of a buffer so that we never lose a phone call?
Yeah, I think at first, like everybody else, I was like, I'm losing customers. He's not answering correctly.
Right.
Answer better. I was like, I'm gonna take the calls from now. I'm gonna do it. But I was like, I sat back and I'm like, wait a minute, this is new. This is innovation. This is what we need. And I told Evelyn, I don't care. I mean, we can lose 20 customers, not one potential customers.
Yes.
No big deal. There's gonna be more down the road. I mean, he's gonna become better. I know Mike is always innovating. I know he's always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
So I know he wasn't gonna let us down. So I had no problems. I did never opt out of Max because I know it's gonna get better.
Yeah. And then every single time we heard a customer say, "Oh, that guy was so rude." When we ask, what did he say? Like, was it the tone of his voice? Did he respond wrong? And immediately I was giving that information to the developer. Like, we got to change the tone of his voice here or how he responded. every single day. We sent them reports. And then if it was an elderly person, we would say, yeah, I know that seems a little frustrating. You can just ask for a human and it'll transfer you. But understand that we would have missed your call because it was evening. But we didn't miss your call because at least Max could take the information. And those are the first phone calls that Command makes back to customers in the morning, is anyone that Max did.
Yeah, and I love that it's 24/7. Like anybody calls anytime, Max will answer. He's not a human, but he will take the information required for you guys to follow up. So
which is pretty phenomenal that he can take an email, a phone number, a name, and have all of that in there. And I don't know that he can figure out your territory yet, but that'll come. We'll keep training him.
It's just a matter of time. I know Augusta is going to become huge. It's already huge, but it's going to become bigger.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
I had a question about, in hindsight, would you advise somebody else who knew they were going to go into the growth mode to wait until they had the 20,000, because you were so fast getting in, and you can't have all the support that you kind of want or need from Command Center. They only answer your phones and do your estimates and contact forms, very simple services. So what would you say to somebody that if in 6 months they were going to be able to do it, would you tell them to just wait, or should they go ahead and be a solo model?
I would say, just if you have the money, just buy into the growth model. I mean, if you're capable, if you feel confident about doing landscape, just buy the growth model. Don't, save up the money, buy it. Or if you want to prove the systems, just like I didn't going into it, proving the systems, buy the solo, and then later on buy the growth model, because you have 2 years to become growth model anyway. So you can, juggle it, whatever, and see if you can make it happen sooner. I mean, like I said, I just didn't want to hold back. I could have.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going in. I want to see if it works, and it works.
And that growth mode is going to suck cash, and that you're going to be doing that for a while before you have a season where you're just kind of holding steady.
Right. Yeah. And right now, for me, it's just growing. I just want to grow next year. I'm not dialing in for profit. I just want to grow as much as possible. I mean, because I'm in the what they call it, like the wilderness. I'm like 300,000 to like 800,000 is like no profit. Like you can be 8 trucks, but still not making any money. So I want to get through it as fast as possible. I don't want to hold there. Someone asked me, I think it was Thomas from Issaquah. He's like, "Are you gonna grow next year?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going back. I'm growing. There's no incentive for me to go back. I just gotta go all in. I don't care."
Has Evelyn heard you say that before, or is this the first time she's hearing that?
I tell her all the time.
He tells me, I'm like, "What's your goal next year?" He's like, $1 million. I want to be a millionaire. Like $1 million is like in his. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
So what would be, if you had that big audacious goal and you think, oh, that's probably impossible, but you're going to shoot for it? What do you think you'd have to do this next season to do that? Just hammer down lots of advertising, or like, what are you thinking your strategies would be?
Yeah, it would be definitely hiring a company to do marketing for me.
Okay.
About hiring, the Evergrow marketing company. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna do probably Thumbtack, probably Yelp. I know there's not a lot of good reviews about them, but I want to give them I'm gonna try them out.
Sure, that's great.
And obviously hire somebody else that can do estimates. So I need to train someone to become me, right? Like PM, and then go from there. That's kind of the plan. I know that because with 2 people and myself, if we hit 300,000, I mean, if I had 2 more guys, I can easily hit 600,000 easy, right? So that's kind of the plan going into next year. Just marketing, and probably sell more 12-month level billing. Round contract, round year, because I think that December, or the winter times, that's when there's the lowest revenue. I want to be able to be steady all year round, or do snow removal. So that's what's gonna happen next year. That's my plan. Do snow, hire a new guy, train him to do estimates and do marketing. Go all in. Spend like $10,000 the first 3 months.
Augusta is always coming up with new things, and we have what's called instant quotes. I always call it Insta because there's Instagram and Instacart and all of this stuff. So, and that's where they put the door hanger on the door with the prices. And that's been very successful this year. But now we have instant pricing on our websites. Is that something that you are going to use this year, or are you just going to kind of wait if it's successful for other franchisees?
I already have it. I think I was the first one to sign in. I'm like, sign me in. Everything Mike's doing, I'm in.
Yeah, that is going to blow it up for you this year. So I think that it's going to be overwhelming for the owners. And I remember one time, Nick there in Washington, he's just like, please just turn it all off. Like, I can't do all this. I'm working 7 days a week. And I said, it's just like a doctor. You don't want to say, Mike and I would have this hash this out in our early years, because I would say, we can't do more. You know how doctors say, we can't take on any more patients right now. Yeah. We're full. I said, let's do that. And he said, no way. No way. This is the time where we take every name. We just say we're booked out for 6 weeks. And so we tried to get Nick to believe that. And we just turned off his estimates for 6 weeks. But that's going to be insane this year. With those instant quotes, I don't think we'll have to spend as much on marketing. But if people do, they better be over hiring and be prepared with that. And Max, the door hangers, like this has been since last spring that all these things came out. So it's going to be pretty aggressive.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for it. I'm all in. I have the money aside. Yeah.
Did you see my post on Facebook yesterday?
I didn't see it.
No, I've hired 41 people already for Command Center.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep, I started in October, and then Nick hopped on there and he's like, I like hearing this thing. It shows that what is possible. Like, we think it's impossible. But I had sometimes 13 interviews a day. Like, I am being so aggressive, even in my ad, to really be very down to earth and say, if you're a whiner, you think the world revolves around you, you don't take personal ownership of things, don't bother applying, because it's a no drama zone here. So I've gotten a better quality of people. And like you mentioned, you raised your base pay, which gives you a little bit of a better genre of applicant.
Absolutely. 100%. So they're happy working, like if they know they're making at least $20 an hour, if they work 10 hours, they make $200.
Do they understand P for P? Did you have to show them videos, or do you talk to them every day? This is what you made. Do they have the app?
They don't. Remember, with Super, we couldn't merge.
Right.
And I only had one employee, so it wasn't necessary for me to have P for P. However, this year I need to have it. So
if you're a franchisee, do you get P for P automatically included in your services?
Yes. Yeah. So it's you get it for free, I think. I think it's gonna be merging with Copilot. I'm not sure 100% how that. So they will be able to see how much money they're gonna make that day. And if they want to make more, I'll just give them more, right? But I think that's the reason why they stick with me the whole year, because I was giving them like 20, whatever their best pay 20. I have one guy that makes 20, and the other guy makes 23, because he's very knowledgeable. But they were always making $30 anyway.
Yeah, I love it. So they've bought in. They believe in P for P, and when you bring new employees on, it's not going to be like they're negative about it.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the first thing I tell them when I interview them. Hey, this is what we are. We do P for P, we do profit sharing, open book management. If you want to grow into the company, there's growth. I mean, you can grow with us. I give them how they can win. I tell them, hey, if you do this, you can become a manager down the road. Work for me for 2 years. You can open up your own location for free. You don't pay anything. I pay $20,000. You don't have to pay $20,000. And I'm going to teach you everything just to get there. So it's a no-brainer for them, right? But
it's like a paid internship.
Yep. Yeah. It's very. I mean, Augusta. Everything that Augusta is doing, I think is very new. Not a lot. I mean, I think we are the only company doing this at a bigger scale.
Right.
And it's amazing right now, but just think about it 10 years from now. It's gonna be insane. I see it.
Yeah. The new people coming in, then it's like all of you. What number were you? Do you know?
I think they do backfill numbers. Yes, I was given number 18. I'm not number 18.
How about that? That's awesome.
But okay, this is the cool thing about this list. I think I think I don't know if Mike or Lee talked about. They said, "Oh yeah, if we ever do an IP, I don't understand those terminologies, right? Like if you go, what do you call it when you go public, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Like he said, I'll probably do something for like the first 10 franchisees or the first 50.
Yes.
I'm gonna get into the first 50, even though I wasn't in
Totally.
the first 50s. I'm gonna get a cut just because they backfill me with the number 18.
I don't know if that's fair.
It's cool. You know, I'm just lucky. I'm lucky. I don't know.
You are.
Sometimes I got this beautiful woman right next to me, a guy with Augusta. It's incredible.
She'll be your competitive advantage. I'm sure they'll let you in. No problem. That's great. So you have the mentality that, yeah, you'd like to be $1 million this coming year, which almost seems impossible. But if all you're doing is aggressively growing, you're definitely going to get pretty close. Even, if you get to six or eight. What's your long-term goal? Or are you a person that even kind of thinks like that?
Yeah. So me and Evelyn have been talking about, the long term goals.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like having at least 5 to 10 locations here in Washington, or maybe going to California, because there's not a lot of them in California,
right?
Or Nevada,
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Her mom she's from Vegas. Well, she's from California, but she lived in Vegas, so her mom is in Vegas. So we're thinking about doing something like that. So 5 locations to 10 in the next 10 years, probably.
I love it. So the way you're thinking is you would look inside your organization to see somebody that's kind of on board and bought in, and then you would move them up into that position. And then would you go start the next one? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. So have someone run this location, and then me opening up the second one, make it profitable, or make it, 20,000, whatever, and then hand it to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you could start a family, and you could even be available when kids are 5 and 6 to take them to school, because you wouldn't be the estimator for any of those, right?
Right. Yes. So yeah, the plan is like, we don't have any kids right now. Obviously it's been 3 years. We love to have kids, but I've been telling Evelyn, if we have a kid right now, it's going to be a problem, because the business is not where we want it to be. You will have to take time off from work. And I wouldn't like my kid to be, in a daycare all day long. Right. I would like you to take care of the kid.
Yeah.
So to get to that point, you need to be off the job, right? Or maybe working for the company.
Right.
Like she talked about, maybe she quits her driving, and she will just take care of the kid and then do all the administration for the company. And that's the plan.
Which will give you both revenue faster. It'll get you to your goals faster.
Yeah. So right now, like, she's working, I'm working, I'm investing everything back into the business. So the business is growing. So I think we're going to get there within 2 to 3 years. Easy. Yeah. When we're going to have a kid, then, yeah.
Yeah. So do you support that, Evelyn, realizing that for a while, it's really going to be a grind for both of you? Yeah. So it's pretty important that you're on board with this. It would be very difficult in these early years of grinding so hard for him not to have your support.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do trust him and everything. Like, I'm like, it's not like you're going to make a decision that's going to hurt us.
Yeah.
So I just trust everything, and yeah.
Well, he has a good track record of staying with a job to try to make it work, and then knowing when he was going to leave, push even harder. So knowing that you want to be out of the field and running these other ones is definitely doable for you.
I think so. And like I said, it's just having the support. I mean, if I didn't have anyone to talk to about these things, I probably wouldn't be thinking about this, right? I talked to Tom as my brother, other companies that are lawn care that are now with us. I talked to them and said, hey, how do you do this? How do you, tell me what's different about you, then maybe I'll add that to my company, even though Augusta has systems, but we can always add from other companies, right?
Yeah. Have you given your brother a lot of added value because of the systems that you've learned and that he can implement in his business?
Well, the problem is that he grew so much. He was maintenance, lawn care first, and then he started doing hardscaping, and then now he's remodeling. So he's all over the place. I've been telling him, get back into lawn care. Yes, you were profitable when you were doing that. It's gonna be always there.
Yeah.
The projects is gonna die off. The economy is not doing so well. People are not accepting estimates as they were a couple years ago. He was telling me this, right? And I told him, say, you told me that they were not accepting your estimates lately. So why don't you just go back to what you were doing before?
Yeah.
So I've been telling him about joining Augusta because he's seen the growth that I've had in 1 year. He's like, dude, I did that in 5 years.
Yeah. It buys you time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's like, yeah, it took me 5 years to do what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, this is because of Augusta. That I don't know anything about this, about the lawn care. So but I think he's got his ways. I mean, he's a little bit older than me, obviously. And he listens, but he doesn't,
It's hard to change. If you got 2 million, man, it is so difficult to change the way you think and to break your bad habits.
And when I tell him about P4P, he doesn't understand it. He's like, I don't get it. I'm like, yeah, you don't get it because you don't want to get it. You don't want to pay your guys more. That's what you want. You want more profit, and that's what you want.
Yeah, but he has to realize they're never going to work harder unless there's an incentive like that, which means he won't make more money.
Yeah, and that's exactly, he goes through these all the time. He's like, yeah, but guys, we're not doing anything. I sent them to this job, and I got there, and it should have been a 1-day job, and it's taking them 2 days. I'm like, because you're not paying them for performance.
Yeah,
pay them P4P. They'll get it done in 8 hours. I guarantee it. Jose does it all the time. Junior does it all the time. I tell them it's gonna be 1 day. Within 6 hours, we're done. Walk around again. Everything is, look at the estimate. Was it done correctly? Yes. Is the customer happy? Yes. Okay, come home. You make $250. Easy.
Yeah, it's such a revolutionary thought and practice that when we implemented, I had Nick on a 32-hour job, and he and his partner did it the first day, which would be 16 hours. And the same thing. Did you walk around? Did you check it all? Yep. Didn't take a single break. Didn't stop and go to the bathroom anywhere. Didn't go to McDonald's and get food. And he tells me I'm done. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. And then he's like, do you have work for me tomorrow? And I said, no. I planned a 32-hour job. I was planning that you guys are going to do this tomorrow. He's like, well, do you think you could get me some? I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to go sell a job tonight so that you can have a job tomorrow. So they started, you can sell more jobs. You can do more because you have P4P. So you're going to make more, they're going to make more. And they really start thinking like owners. I mean, he did an awesome job. He trained the guy with him and they killed it, And so that's something that I never thought of and people don't think of. Right. They will get more work done faster and you'll be scrambling to find work for them because you have to start moving jobs back because they need the work. And then you can just start, all your time goes backwards and you're able to give the guys more hours and sell more jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going when I was working at this company. No incentives whatsoever. And I was not incentivized to do anything. Like at one point, I'm just gonna do the bare minimum. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care about this company anymore. Like I've been telling them, I've been showing them, this is the classes I'm taking. I'm taking business. I'm taking accounting. I'm doing all these things, public speaking, all of these things. So you made $27 an hour. That's it. Yeah. I've been showing you the value that I'm bringing to the company. No, nothing. And I'm like, I'm done with this. I can't do it no more. So I like to give that opportunity to the guys that I work with.
Definitely. Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. I all day long. No problem.
So you guys are really high quality people. You seek to be better. What kind of things do you listen to? Do you bring into yourself? How do you discipline yourself to make you the kind of people you are to do what you're doing together?
Yeah. So for me, it's I'm part of a group, a support group that I go Mondays and Fridays, 2 hours at every time I go, and that's just psychological help. Obviously moving from Mexico to here when I was young, having no parents, basically. My brothers were working; they were never there, so I struggled with depression and all these things. So. Alcohol, drugs, and all of these things. So being part of the group has helped me tremendously. I've been part of it since I was in high school. So a friend of mine in high school invited me to the group, and ever since I've been there. And that's what changed my life around 100%. 180 degrees. Literally went from this to the other side.
Huge. There's so many guys in our industry, and oh my word, that is huge. I've talked to so many of them. And what is it that makes you want to keep going and have a desire to keep going and to go in the first place?
Yeah, it's. I don't want to go back to the way that I felt before. Honestly, depression. I mean, you're from Washington. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It's tough. The
Yes.
weather is tough. It rains a lot. I mean, 20 years ago, it rained all year round.
Wow.
Almost, right? It was foggy. It was cloudy. It was dark, and I mean, it was really depressing. And I'm coming from Mexico. Is hot.
Yeah.
You know? And the state that I'm from is called Aguascalientes. It's like 100 degrees all year round. It's desert like, you know, it's hot. Moving up here, it was a total different world. And it took me 2 years to get accustomed to it. But obviously depression was a major thing for me. And I struggled very, very hard for like 5 years with depression. So, you know, it's like every time I think about not going to the group, I'm like, depression is knocking on your door. Right? It's just right next door. I mean, you want to go, and I go every single time. I just think about my past, and I'm like, I don't want to go back. I need to focus, and I'm focused. I'm 35 years old now, and I've been doing it since I was 16, I think. So it's almost 20 years. Every single time I go, I'm happy to go. I don't care who's there. I don't care who comes. People come and go. I'm always there because I know it's helped me so much.
I love it. What do you think of that, Evelyn? When you met him, knew that he did that, were you proud of him to know that he was trying to better himself?
Yeah, that's actually what got me like interested in him. So that support group is basically like in different states. And my family, my sister is also in there. And that's how she saw him. Awesome. And heard about him and how he was a good guy, heard all these good things about him.
And yet knew all his struggles.
Yeah. And then she told me, I like this guy for you. And I was like, who? And then she told me all about him and stuff. And then when I went on the first date, he told me his history. And like, I saw like his goals, his mindset. It was so different than from other guys out there. And I was like, yeah, he's the keeper.
That is fantastic.
I'm all for it. I love that he goes to his groups and it helps him.
And what about you? Do you guys listen to podcasts? Is there anything that you kind of unite together on? Like, I'm sure you listen to Mike, I'm sure you listen to the masterminds, and a lot of times the wife doesn't. So do you have any interest in it, or do you listen to something entirely different? What do you do for yourself?
Sometimes he'll send me podcasts and they're too long. Like, I don't know. I have a hard time listening or watching TV like for a long time. So what I do is I talk a lot to my friends. That's where I like let go of things. I like reading. So I like reading like self-help books.
Okay.
Journaling, and I like just being outdoors. That's like
great.
Going for walks. That just makes me relax.
Yeah, and besides the group, I do read books. I also do the audiobooks.
Yep.
Yeah, Audible. Yeah, that's all day long. I'm listening to books while I'm working. So it obviously, the mental health, it's taken care of. Now is the business. Now I'm only with listening to Mike, listening to podcasts, reading books, or you guys, share you guys' list of books that you guys read.
Yeah.
I took a picture of it when we went to the Bellingham shop, and I'm reading, I'm buying those books and I'm listening to them. So obviously right now I'm just focusing more into the business, but I'm not going to let go the other help, because if I let go this, the mental health, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't think I can be, it's that simple. So one hand this, and then the other hand, the other.
Yeah, there's a talk or a speech that I've always wanted to give, and I would need a lot of time and a lot of help to probably put it together, but it would be called Brains in Business. And it would be all the addictions, how they affect us, how the weather does, how all of our depression, anxiety, and then even workout drinks and stimulants, and how it affects our psyche and our neuro pathways. I would love to show some brain scans, and then people in business, and how you've gotten better. Like, there's no denying that to be better at business, you have to get well. You have to be whole. So to wrap up today, do you have any special quote or advice or anything from where you guys have been for those coming up behind you, considering the franchise, or anything like that you'd like to share?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I have this quote. I don't know who said it, but it goes like this: nothing lasts forever, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if you live under that premise, anything can be fun,
Mhm.
and you don't take things too seriously. Like when I was going through depression, obviously, I took it too seriously, right?
Mhm.
It shouldn't be that way. So
Mhm.
when I heard this one, I don't know who said it. So I think I heard somebody, and I'm like, I like it. Because
Yeah.
nothing, I mean, nothing is gonna last forever.
Mhm.
This company is not gonna be forever. I'm not gonna be here forever. And Evelyn and I, we're not gonna be together forever. She's gonna die. I'm gonna die, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a powerful quote. And again, I don't know who said it, but I like it. Nothing lasts forever.
I love it. I love it. How about you, Evelyn?
My favorite quote is actually in Spanish, so I'll just try and translate it. But it's basically like saying, being alive is a good enough reason to be happy.
Oh, that's good.
So I say that to myself in the morning because it just makes me more grateful for everything that I have.
Mhm.
Struggles or not, like as long as I'm alive, everything has a solution. Because if
Yeah.
we're not, then we wouldn't have this. But I'd rather be alive with the struggles and everything because they'll pass.
Yeah, for
So.
sure. For sure. Well, I can't thank you enough for your time today. So many of the franchisees never get to meet unless they can come to Summit or the conference. And that's a long time to wait to meet someone. But it's nice when you get there that you can say, I went through depression, or I was addicted to alcohol. And like, can you tell me your story? Can you tell me how you got better? I'm going through this. You would never know. And so
Right.
it's helped so many people to be able to, I feel such a connection to them because of where I've been. And it's so much better when we get together already having a little bit of a foundation of knowing someone. It's
Mhm.
pretty awesome. I am so happy to be a part of Augusta Nation. I'm so glad that you guys are too. And I believe that your story will really impact a lot of people.
Thank you so much, Les. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. You have a great day.
You
Thank you.
too.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year. You're my last interview of the year.
That's right.
So exciting. That's
Okay.
awesome. I interviewed Mike last night, so that'll be a riot to listen to. So I interviewed him on things that people have never heard about him. So a couple weeks ago, he said something, talked about something, and I'm like, nobody knows that about you. I said, I'm going to make a list of stuff I know that people have never heard. And he's like, oh, they've heard everything. And so I'm pretty sure there's going to be some good nuggets in there that people have never heard. That it was just kind of fun to get together. And,
Beautiful.
Can't wait.
yeah. All right. Well, you have an awesome day, and thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
you.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.